There is a power deep within the soul of a woman that often goes unnoticed, underappreciated, or even underestimated. It's not the power of loudness or force, but the quiet, unwavering strength that resides in her gentleness. And this power, though invisible to many, is transformative. It is the kind of power that has the capacity to heal, to elevate, and to reshape the very fabric of our society. It's a power that stands apart from the conventional notions of power, where might is seen as right and strength is only measured by the ability to overpower. The gentleness of a woman's soul holds the power to change the world in profound, lasting ways. Throughout history, we have been taught to associate strength with visible aggression, dominance, and control. We've been conditioned to think of power as something that's loud, brash, and demanding. It's a worldview that tends to favor force over thoughtfulness, noise over silence, and confrontation over understanding. But this is a misconception. True power, real transformative power, doesn't always come in the form of a roar. Sometimes it's a whisper, sometimes it's a touch, a word, or simply the unwavering presence of someone who leads with empathy, compassion, and grace. The gentleness of a woman's soul is an oft overlooked strength. It's a quiet force, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself with grand gestures. It manifests in the way she nurtures, the way she listens, the way she serves those around her. It is the power of emotional intelligence, of understanding the pain of others and responding with kindness rather than judgment. It is the power of patience, of recognizing that real change takes time and that healing is a process, not a quick fix. A woman's gentleness is the power of resilience, because while gentleness may appear fragile to the untrained eye, it is in fact one of the most resilient forces known to humankind. To understand the depth of this power, one must first grasp the idea that gentleness is not synonymous with weakness. Far from it. The gentle soul is not easily swayed by the noise of the world. She is rooted in something far more profound. As Maya Angelou once said, "We may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated." A woman who leads with gentleness does not bend in the face of adversity. Rather, she faces it with quiet confidence, knowing that her inner strength comes from her ability to remain compassionate, to remain connected to what truly matters. Her gentleness is a sign of her strength, not her fragility. It is the strength to endure, the strength to uplift, the strength to love, despite all odds. Consider the ripple effect of such gentleness. A woman's gentleness can create a wave that spreads far beyond her immediate environment. One act of kindness, one moment of compassion can ignite a transformation that touches countless lives. The impact of her soul is like a stone cast into a pond. The ripple effects are not always visible at first, but they extend far beyond the initial point of contact. This is the true power of gentleness. It changes lives without needing to be loud. It shifts perspectives without needing to force its will. It simply is. The world needs this power. It needs the quiet revolution of a compassionate heart. Too often we see the consequences of a world that operates on the principle of might makes right. We see the results of power wielded without consideration for the deeper consequences, the ripple effects that echo through families, communities, and societies. We see the suffering that comes when empathy is disregarded, when patience is abandoned, and when understanding is forsaken for the sake of expediency. But gentleness, with its enduring power, offers an antidote to this imbalance. It creates space for healing, for understanding, and for meaningful, sustainable change. It is important to recognize that gentleness is not something that comes naturally to all. It is not an inherent trait that one is simply born with. It is cultivated through life experiences, through hardships, through the challenges that shape us into who we are. Just as steel is tempered by fire, gentleness is honed through the trials and tribulations that we face. It is forged in moments of pain and sorrow, in the quiet resolve that says, I will not let this world harden my heart. I will not let this world strip me of my compassion. I will hold on to what is good, what is pure, what is kind. When a woman leads with gentleness, she brings an energy into the room that shifts the atmosphere. Her presence becomes a balm for the wounded, a light in the darkness. She can calm a storm with a single word, a single touch, because she understands that the power to heal lies not in force, but in love. And in this power, there's an undeniable truth. Gentleness is not passive. It is active, dynamic, and it requires an incredible amount of strength to maintain. The ability to be gentle, to remain compassionate even in the face of adversity, is not a weakness, it is a formidable force. The transformative power of a woman's gentleness is not confined to her personal relationships. It extends into every arena of life, touching all who encounter her. Her gentleness can reshape a work environment, turning competition into collaboration. It can influence the policies of nations, reminding us of the importance of empathy in governance. It can change the way we interact with one another, shifting the tone of our conversations and actions from one of aggression to one of mutual respect and understanding. And let us not forget that this power has always existed. It has always been present in every woman who has ever lived, who has ever walked this earth with the quiet strength of her gentleness. From the mothers who nurture their children with care and love, to the leaders who create movements with kindness and vision, to the friends who lift us up when we falter, this power has always been at the heart of change. It has always been the force that heals wounds, that brings people together, and that helps us move forward in times of darkness. In a world that so often values power, wealth, and influence, we must remember that the greatest power is not always seen, heard, or celebrated in the ways we expect. The gentleness of a woman's soul is a force that transcends the conventional understanding of power. It is a power that transforms quietly, that heals deeply, and that shifts the course of history, not with the might of an army, but with the power of a compassionate heart. It is a power that holds the potential to change the world, one gentle act at a time. So let us recognize this power. Let us honor it, embrace it, and allow it to guide us. For in the gentleness of a woman's soul, there lies the potential to transform not only individuals, but entire societies and ultimately the world itself. True leadership is not about commanding others to follow, nor is it about asserting one's authority over those who are weaker or less powerful. Real leadership is about lifting others up, inspiring them to become better versions of themselves, and guiding them through the challenges of life with compassion, wisdom, and patience. In this sense, a woman's gentleness, rooted in her deep empathy and understanding of the human experience, has the power to lead in ways that often go unrecognized, yet are profoundly transformative. The power of compassionate leadership, especially that which comes from the soul of a woman, holds the potential to reshape not only the lives of those she leads, but also the world at large. At the heart of compassionate leadership is the ability to connect with others on a deeply human level. In a world that often values the loudest voices, the most forceful personalities, and the most overt displays of power, there is something incredibly refreshing and incredibly powerful in a leadership style that prioritizes understanding and empathy. A woman who leads with gentleness does not need to prove her strength by dominating others. She proves her power by nurturing, by listening, and by inspiring those around her to find the best in themselves. As Maya Angelou famously said, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." The essence of compassionate leadership is found in the way it makes people feel valued, heard, and seen. This kind of leadership is not only about having the capacity to feel deeply for others, but also about the strength to make decisions that are rooted in empathy. A compassionate leader knows that the most important decisions are not made in haste or with an eye solely on the bottom line. They are made with the long-term well-being of individuals and communities in mind. The woman who leads with compassion sees the world as a network of interconnected souls, and she understands that her actions will ripple out and affect others in ways that may not be immediately visible. It is this awareness of the far-reaching consequences of one's choices that separates true leaders from those who simply manage. As Albert Einstein once said, the true value value of a human being is determined primarily by the measure and the sense in which he has attained liberation from the self. Compassionate leadership liberates not just the leader, but those who are led by recognizing their potential and helping them fulfill it. In a society that often values control and competition, it takes an exceptional strength to lead with kindness, humility, and understanding. The woman who chooses to lead with compassion is not only breaking down the walls of traditional leadership models, but she is also building something more sustainable. Something that endures, that fosters genuine collaboration, and that nurtures the potential of others. It is easy to forget that real power does not come from domination or fear. It comes from inspiring trust, from building genuine connections, and from recognizing the humanity in each person you encounter. As the Dalai Lama once said, the more we care for the happiness of others, the greater our own sense of well-being becomes. The leader who approaches others with this mindset has the capacity to create an environment where everyone can thrive because they see the humanity in everyone they lead. But compassionate leadership does not mean avoiding difficult decisions or avoiding conflict. On the contrary, it takes great strength to navigate difficult situations with empathy and grace. A compassionate leader recognizes that conflict is a natural part of life, but she also knows that it can be addressed in ways that respect everyone's dignity and that foster understanding rather than division. True leadership, then, is about finding ways to resolve conflicts while maintaining the integrity of all parties involved. It is about seeing the potential in every individual, even in the midst of disagreement or struggle. As Abraham Lincoln famously said, the best way to predict your future is to create it. The compassionate leader is someone who understands that by helping others navigate conflict with wisdom, empathy, and fairness, she can help shape a more positive, unified future for all involved. It is also essential to recognize that compassionate leadership is not always about grand gestures or monumental acts. More often than not, the most powerful moments of leadership occur in the quiet, everyday interactions we have with one another. A kind word at the right moment, a listening ear when someone is struggling, or a thoughtful gesture that demonstrates care and concern. These are the moments that, over time, build trust, loyalty, and a sense of community. It is in these small, everyday acts of leadership that true transformation occurs. A woman who leads with gentleness has the ability to transform not just one individual, but an entire organization or movement through the power of these small, consistent acts of compassion. This is why the effects of her leadership are so far-reaching, because they touch the hearts of those she leads in ways that inspire them to act with similar compassion, creating a cycle of kindness and understanding that perpetuates itself. Compassionate leadership is also about recognizing the value in every person, regardless of their position, status, or background. The woman who leads with gentleness does not see herself as above others, but as a part of a larger whole. She understands that her success is not measured by her own accomplishments, but by the growth and success of those she leads. This kind of leadership is grounded in humility, and it is this humility that enables her to connect with others in a way that is authentic and meaningful. She does not seek to elevate herself above others, but to elevate those around her so that they can all rise together. As John C. Maxwell, a renowned leadership expert, has said, leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in your charge. In every instance of compassionate leadership, there is a quiet revolution at work. It is a revolution that values cooperation over competition, empathy over indifference, and collaboration over division. The gentle leader is one who creates a culture where each person feels valued and supported, and where each individual is encouraged to reach their full potential. This kind of leadership has the power to change the world, not by force or by imposition, but by inspiring others to become the best versions of themselves. It is a leadership rooted in love and respect, and it is a force that can heal wounds, mend broken relationships, and create a future where compassion and understanding are the guiding principles of our shared humanity. This is the legacy that compassionate leadership leaves behind, a legacy of love, understanding, and shared growth. It is a legacy that shapes communities, organizations, and entire societies by focusing on what truly matters, the people. And at the heart of it all is the quiet, steady power of a woman's soul, leading, transforming, and creating a world that reflects the best of who we can be. Compassionate leadership is not merely a lofty ideal. It is a tangible, real force that, when embraced, has the potential to change everything.